The classic Justice League is truly a masterpiece. For me, it stands out as the best Justice League series. No matter how much time passes, it will always remain timeless. In this video, let's focus on a character who isn't one of the main heroes, but who has an incredibly heartbreaking story. This character is Ace, a child born with an extraordinary ability that no one would ever consider a blessing. She has a mind capable of manipulating people's perceptions, bending reality, and even driving people to madness. From the very start, she was dealt a nearly impossible hand in life. She was born with exceptional psychic powers, and these abilities began to manifest when she was just a toddler, barely old enough to speak. Her presence changed how those around her saw the world. Just a simple glance from her could warp reality for others. For most infants, a glance from their parents meant love and connection, but for Ace, it meant destruction. Her parents were left in a catatonic state, broken not by any cruelty, but by a power that their young daughter couldn't control. Her early childhood wasn't filled with toys and bedtime stories like most children's. Instead, it was marked by observation rooms, sedatives, and fear. This was because she was taken in by a covert government group that studied her as if she were a weapon. The world saw her as a threat that needed to be contained. To neutralize her powers, they gave her a special headband that dampened her abilities. Ace wasn't the only one involved in the government experiment known as Project Cadmus. There were others, including King, Queen, Jack, and Ten, who together formed a group called the Royal Flush Gang. Each of them, including Ace, was once trapped in this experiment, but they were all freed by the Joker, who had his own plans for them. He called it a rescue, but in reality, he had a game in mind, and Ace was the piece he was most fascinated with. He planned to exploit her abilities to drive the entire world into madness through a broadcast signal. He gave her the illusion of choice, pretending to offer her a sense of belonging. However, behind the scenes, he kept the power-dampening headband close, revealing his true intentions. His goal was to control her, not to truly help her. But things didn't go as planned for the Joker. When Ace finally realized what was happening, she turned the tables on him. She looked at the man who had pretended to save her, and in that moment, her powers shattered the last remnants of his sanity. It was a turning point, as Ace finally broke free from the Joker's manipulation. Even though she escaped the Joker's control, Project Cadmus once again took hold of her, but by this time, she was no longer the vulnerable girl they had confined years ago. Her powers had evolved significantly. They were no longer limited to just manipulating people's perceptions. Instead, she could now reshape the very fabric of reality itself. Her mind had become a canvas, and the world was her paint. She didn't see the world as something to conquer. Instead, she created a new Royal Flush Gang. But this time, it wasn't for the purpose of destruction. She used it to simulate companionship, to create a sense of family and belonging that she had never experienced in her life. Her world became a surreal fantasy designed to fill the void of a childhood that was stolen from her. Despite finding comfort in this artificial reality, Ace was aware that she was slowly dying. Her powers were unstable, and she knew that her time was limited. This leads to one of the most poignant moments in the entire series, when Batman comforts her before she passes away.
Could you stay with me? I'm scared.
In that moment, we saw the most powerful weapon in Batman's arsenal. It wasn't fear or physical strength, but understanding. He didn't offer her false hope. Instead, he offered his presence. He sat with her, listened to her pain, and honored her humanity. She died not as a weapon or a threat, but as a child in need of comfort, a comfort she had never known. That's what makes her story so heartbreaking in the Justice League series.
When I was little, Cadmus used to make me play all kinds of games, but they weren't any fun either. They'd strap me into their machines and poke wires into my brain. Ace, can you move this object with your mind? Yeah, I can move it. They weren't really games, you know. They were training me, turning me into a weapon for justice, they said. They got their weapon. I got cheated out of my childhood.